Time for some testing. In this video, we will check if the users can log in and out of the application as expected. So let's return to ColdFusion Builder, and let's first take a look at the users table in the database. So I will select the users table here, right-click Show Table Contents, and for the test, I will use Joe Admin, user ID number 1. That user has an email address, administrator@hdstreet.com, and the associated password is pw4admin, as you can see here. Now let's close the query viewer, and I will return to my homepage, index.cfm, that I open and run in the browser. So far so good. You can see that the login form appears in the top right corner of the site, and I will do a first check here. I will supply something that is not an email address, and I will leave the password field empty. If I try to log in now, you see the client-side data validation, enter a valid email address, provide a password, so the first test is okay. This is the client-side form validation that uses JavaScript. So I click on OK, and I will now supply some email address that do not exist in the database, something like user@company.com. I will supply a dummy password. And now if I try to log in, I have a message telling me that the user was not found and please try again. So this is all good as well. Now I will use an email address that exists in the database, administrator@hdstreet.com, and I will use the associated password, pw4admin. And if I hit the login button now, you see that it works, so I could log into the application. One proof of that, of course, is the fact that the welcome message is now displayed instead of the login form. But another proof can be found here in the debug information, because you will see in the session variables that the st logged in user structure is present in the session variable. It contains 3 pieces of information. You know what are those pieces of information. It's the first name, the last name, and the ID of the logged in user. Now, if I return to the top of the page here and I click on the logout link, you see that I return to index.cfm with the logout parameter that is passed in the URL. The first proof that the logout procedure has been a success is that the login form is back here in the top right corner of the site. Another proof can be found in the debug output, because you see here in the session variables there is no more trace of that st user logged in structure, because it has been removed by the doLogout method of the authentication service component. So it looks like the login and the logout procedure of our website is correctly working, so we can now safely implement resource access control.